Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dirty Possum podcast. How you guys doing today? Everybody good?
Yeah,
we can do one of that. All right. Now, I need to mention first off that we are recording this in Mother's Day, and that's going to be a little bit, it might matter a little later on. But first, let's get to know everybody. That's important. My name's Wes. I am an air personality in Lubbock, Texas. That's what they call me anyways. We have Dave Lonngren over here, who at this point, I would call you a performance artist rather than a comedian. Yeah. You think that's accurate?
I think I'm looking at performance art every day in my life.
All right, that sounds pretty accurate with Dave. All right, in the center, the head, the godfather here of Laugh Hub City, we got Caleb Davis. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Everything is good. And our guest this week, our guest star is Mr. Aaron Durbin. How are you?
Doing well, doing great.
Also one of the original members of Laugh Hub City. I want to get to know Aaron a little bit more here. I'm only around you guys a little bit, and all of your friends here with Laugh Hub City kind of portrayed you as a degenerate, pre-alcoholic gambler type, and then I see a picture of you in a marathon. So what's going on?
I like to keep things interesting, you know. I like the challenge and the gambling aspect, and so I was pretty much going to. I wanted to do something kind of challenging, so I signed up for this half marathon.
Yeah.
About killed me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How was it running on the loop and stuff?
It was hot and terrible, and by the time I got to the turnaround to run back, I wanted to quit, but I was in East Lubbock, so I didn't think that was the best idea. Found the motivation to keep going.
Wait, that was a Sunday morning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How the fuck did you wake up on a Sunday morning? You don't get up out of bed before noon on a Sunday.
Well, I quit drinking around 7, so I gave myself enough time to get up.
7 in the morning or 7 at night?
7 at night.
So, is this a thing with you, though, these marathons, or was this just a, I'm going to do this one kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I was kind of inspired by Bert Kreischer, a comedian. I'm like, if that fat bastard can run a full marathon, I should be able to run a half. So,
they're going to find him dead on a course. I mean, that's going to happen. All right, guys, it is Mother's Day, and a lot of you guys just came from lunch or whatever with your mothers. So that's where we're going to start today. Dave, got to start with Dave.
All right.
Something funny about your mother.
She's dead.
There you go.
And that helped me buy my truck.
Well, there's still usable parts, though.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Caleb, what about you? You want to be nice to your mom? She's still around. You actually work with your mom, correct?
I do. I need to be. She signs the checks, so
yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah.
I guess she was always like the MVP at all of the sporting events. You could always tell her voice because she'd be going, "Come on, bud, you can do it, bud."
Did you do it though, bud?
Occasionally, I'd do it.
You did do it.
It's not the David. He's not the Davis brother playing baseball now.
No, listen.
Yeah, let's just expand on that a little bit. Let's hear about your brother. This was kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah, younger brother is Michael Davis. He's a senior.
Yeah.
On the Tech baseball team. Just a stud.
Yeah. Is he good? Well, I mean, he's college level good, but is he good for the team?
Yeah, he's good. He's starting shortstop.
Yeah.
And we've got at least. We feel like he's going to get drafted this year, but we'll
see. All right, going to be cashing those checks, huh?
I don't know if I'm getting any. I stopped playing catch with him whenever you.
Did you beat the shit out of him when you were little kids?
Yeah.
So that's going to come back into play, right? Yeah. He's going to be taking that roll of hundreds going, nuh-uh. This is for the noogies.
Yeah,
right.
This is in my autobiography, Caleb. Fuck you.
It really didn't
never
last
be my
too
brother.
long because, he was so goddamn good.
Yeah.
It's like he's 13 and I'm 19 and he's beating me in a backyard baseball game. I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm going to go have
Right, exactly. If he can throw a ball, he can throw a punch, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
And has a bat around.
Yeah.
Both of those things. What about you, Mr. Durbin? I know nothing about you. How's your mom? Is she alive?
She's alive. She's great. I guess if I were going to describe her, she's like HGTV if that was a person,
She'll flip a house for me.
Yeah. She's all in real estate and making stuff out of nothing and crocheting and all that stuff. She's all over the place.
She made you, I might add.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she was part of that process anyways. One of the things that I want to cover with each episode of this is the actual art of comedy. And I know you guys are at the very, very beginning of a journey here. And I was actually able to see you at the very, very, very beginning of this journey. You know what I mean? I don't know what point we consider you guys are at. Most of you have been doing about 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. What?
I think this is my 4th or 5th year.
I think I was three hard active 3 years.
Right.
Before I kind of backed off.
Then let me just say that I think that you guys have grown more in the past year and a half than you did at the beginning, and that's a compliment, I guess. You know what I mean? I think you guys get enough reps in there to where it's impossible not to be good. You do anything that many times a night, you got to be getting better, right?
You hope so.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Well, I think it's the failure rate. The more you bomb, the more thicker skin your gets.
Right, and that brings me to my first question. And believe it or not, it's something that little shit Jacob Callender said, and he was that fucking guy.
Got him a fucking time machine.
Yeah. He was telling me about the moment he lost a crowd, which is usually right when he gets on stage. But I find that concept really fascinating. Dave, you've had it happen to you.
Oh.
I know that I've seen you at gigs where you actually did start out well and then everything went south. Do you feel that in the air or what?
I think I lose focus. I start worrying about what they think of me. I'm not focused in on the moment.
Right.
The moment of just me on the stage.
So it becomes one thing piling on another, piling on another.
And I've seen this 1,000 times with guys that are at an open mic, and they start bombing, and then they're like, if I can just throw out one more good joke,
it's like trying to throw out a lifeline.
And it's just, at some point you just go, fuck it, I'm done. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And come back next day.
What about you, Caleb? I haven't seen you have a truly bad night. But have you had a night where things are popping and then all of a sudden you went, bam?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think it happens to everybody. I think that's something that you just want to be more consistent. I think after you do it, you don't want to have those nights where, you eat shit. But I think, it's just such a humbling thing. It's like, it's just humble pie. It's like, dude, as soon as you think you've got it figured out, you're fucked.
How much time do you spend on the fact that you failed there as opposed to the time that you did before that? I mean, is that something you dwell on the next day? Or are you able to say, oh, well?
Not really. I mean, I guess what Jacob said, but I think we all talk about, like, you can kind of feel that moment where it's like either you're going to keep the crowd or they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can tell. It's like all of a sudden you hear chatter in the back and you could just feel the room just like, oh, fuck this. We're not listening to you.
Same for you, Mr. Durbin. You are also remarkably consistent. I haven't seen you fail. You know what I mean? But there has to been a few nights.
It's been there. I think what it is you learn that some crowds are not going to accept certain subject matter.
So why do you keep going?
Because I like to push the crowd to my opinion. I'll go out there and I'll say something like, I remember there's a point I was like trashing Lee Greenwood or something, which was, I guess, anti.
Somebody took an anti-Lee Greenwood or pro-Greenwood stance.
Somebody thought I was not being an American or whatever because I didn't like his stupid song or whatever. But I mean, I think it's just a trial and error process, and you're going to fail way more than you succeed. And so one of the best feelings though is winning the crowd back.
So it does happen.
You can't dig yourself out of it. Sometimes it takes like a broad stroke thing something you were doing very different than the first part of the set. So you're just like somebody falls over in the back of the bar or something, and then you address that, and that gets you back in. So
I got a question.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Lee Greenwood?
He sang the song "Proud to Be an American."
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that, home.
Sometimes you get lucky too. On our last laugh off, I felt like, man, we were rocking, and Caleb, who we've got on a future show, Kendall, who we've got on a future show, just ruled it, and then Jacob was doing real well on the roast, and he started to go down, and then the Amber Alert went off.
Yeah.
And the Amber Alert saved his ass, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was some awesome stuff right there. Let's go back to where we started with Mr. Durbin here, and back to a more broad topic here. Dave, you don't drink or do any substances at all.
Only the stuff that my doctor prescribes.
Did you once upon a time drink?
I used to drink.
All right. Here's a good story. Well, let's take this drink out of this.
Okay.
Tell me about a time where you woke up and went, where the fuck am I?
This is gonna sound weird.
Well, it's coming from you.
Yeah, well, everything. Farts sound weird. I was at the previous job that I just got fired from 2 months ago, and man, I'd go take a fucking nap on my lunch break.
Yeah.
And because, I get worn out. And one time I don't know what I was doing the night before. I just crashed.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping in somebody's office, and it was all dark, and I woke up. And I thought I was home, and I didn't know where the fuck I was. And I was like, oh, shit. It took me like 10 minutes to figure out that I was at work. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I'm still at work. No wonder I got fired from that job. They did not like me taking naps on my lunch break, those fuckers.
What about you, Caleb? You look like you may have pulled a drunk once in a while or woke up in a strange place.
Probably the worst one is I was at this keg party in college, and I guess in my blackout, I figured the best spot to pass out is I just crawled in the bed of this pickup truck.
Yeah.
And then woke up the next morning and under a new address, driven probably to 3 different parties, just in the bed. They didn't even know I was back there. Like, dude, we went to 2 bars and then drove home. I wake
You're
up,
probably
I'm like,
rolling side to side back there.
I'm just like, just a heap of drunken shittiness.
What about you, Mr. Durbin?
I took this girl from Hot Topic to her house, and I guess I didn't really pay attention when we got there. And so when I woke up to leave, it was in this weird like trailer park complex, and I didn't know how to get out of it. So I was really freaking out. It was like 5 a.m, and I was like, oh man, you're gonna have to take it back a little bit.
Durbin girl from Hot Topic girl trailer park.
There you go.
Never thought those words would have come out of your mouth.
I got to tell you guys this. In Southern California, which is actually where I am from until I was about 16, the big thing is house parties and backyard parties. And when I was a kid, you could literally pay $5 to go into somebody's backyard, and they'd have one keg there that would last 5 minutes, and somebody like Van Halen would be playing at the early part of their career. But I went to this one house party that was all indoors, nice neighborhood and everything, 2-story house. And I woke up the next morning, and I had fallen asleep like a U over a foosball table. A foosball table. I fucking woke up, and I stood up, and I had impressions of little men all over my chest. And I was like, it doesn't matter. I was like 30 miles from home because my ride had left and everything like that. And I had to walk home with impressions of foosball men on me because I was wearing an open Hawaiian shirt. But that's how I rolled back then.
At least nobody did any spinners on you.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Let's get back a little bit to the comedy scene here a little bit. Unfortunately, you guys lost a venue. Has nothing to do with you. It just changed names and stuff. What do you need in a venue for a good comedy show?
I think it starts with like whoever's running it, a willingness to get behind it.
Yeah.
To at least respect that we're gonna allow us to do what we want to do there.
Right.
I mean, I know that's kind of like probably an obvious answer, but We've had venues where guys just like, oh, fuck yeah, comedy, and he just doesn't give a shit, and so it doesn't yield a good show. You always know the people that at least are going to help you along the way. They care that people are going to actually come out.
Right, and there's also the problem in that even if you are a superstar and you put on a great show, when the show's over, everybody leaves.
Yeah,
and people don't understand. I mean, when I approached you.
Right.
How many ever years ago that was about that place you used to own, you understood.
Right, yeah,
and he was like, okay, I mean, I did my homework. I knew you liked comedy. I knew that.
Well, I think that's important, but I don't even necessarily think that room was set up perfect. You know what I mean?
It was. I think it's been one of the best rooms that we've ever. I mean, I think anybody in this room has performed in this in that place.
Right.
And
it was the best room for about 3 months.
Yeah.
before I had to move on and do something else.
Yeah.
For a little bit. But I like more of. I really thought that Backstage had the perfect setup, if not the perfect understanding of how a comedy club should go. Am I somewhat on base there?
Yeah.
It had a stage for one. That's always a plus.
A good, decent stage. Yeah.
All right. Now it no longer matters, but I would love to hear the story of the big Backstage meltdown. Now, I guess that Caleb's got to tell this story, right?
Which meltdown?
I know that shit went real crazy there one night because Caleb was up apologizing the next day.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, we get there and it's one of our epic nights where like 20 people, 18 to 20 comics sign up, and it doesn't start well.
Okay, you had 18 to 20 people sign up. How many were comics?
5.
A handful.
5.
A handful.
Durbin and Caleb and we'll throw Feldman a bone.
But it didn't start well because there was just a section of this bar, like 4 or 5 people, and they were honestly louder than the fucking PA.
Right.
And then, so people are throwing jabs at them, and it's finally they just get up and leave, and we're like, fuck yeah, we can actually have a show now.
Right.
And so we start kind of getting going, and in the middle of all this, Dave's there.
Yeah.
It is it.
I forgot that was part of this story. Yeah.
Some guys one of his first nights up there, he's totally just gripping the mic and covering his hand.
He's doing exactly what you yelled at Corey Wood about.
Right.
With his hand over the mic.
Right, exactly.
And he's like, can y'all motherfuckers hear me or what? And Dave's like, take your fucking hand off the mic.
No, I said it. I said, take your hand off the knob, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he goes, come grab my knob.
Yeah.
Okay, then
that's a challenge to Dave.
Yeah, I'm the wrong motherfucker to say that.
Caleb is hiding his face in here still. It's so embarrassing.
But I did not verbally assault him. I fucking led an assault like D-Day on the beaches of fucking Normandy, trying to go over the front of the fucking stage to grab this motherfucker's knob, because nobody fucks with Naked Dave like that.
Yeah, and you got to describe how this guy looked. He looked like his job was selling gremlins.
No. I know a guy.
He wouldn't get into the beer house.
Yeah. I know a guy that's he used to do comedy back in New York or something, and I know him from a coffee shop. And I was telling him about the story. I said, I can't really explain how it looked, but he had this jacket and a fucking hat, and it just looked like a douchebag. He goes, oh, he was a Fozzie Bear comedian.
Yeah.
If think of Fozzie Bear, that was the motherfucker up on stage. That motherfucker, I'm like the sergeant in the first part of Full Metal Jacket. That motherfucker did not belong on my goddamn stage, motherfucker. I'm here to weed out all fucking non-hackers.
All right, and then Caleb, you had to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, well, it's I just thought Dave was going to go up there and act like he was going to suck his dick, but I mean, Dave broad jumps onto this 4-foot step. I've never seen this old motherfucker make any athletic move ever, and he's just up there, and they're tussling around. And
Did that guy hit me?
No, he just pushed you and just somehow
like a
landed
cigarette
on
went
your
flying
feet.
in the air.
Yeah, that's what happened to my
Oh, you were there too, Durbin?
Yeah.
All right, now, Durbin, do you think all of this is accurate? Do you have anything to add
No,
to this?
it's pretty close. I mean, this is the Dave meltdown portion, but then there's a Caleb meltdown portion that happens later.
Okay, all right, let's get to that. And then what happened?
So we keep going, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? This show's off the rails.
Yeah?
And the people come back that were there from the beginning.
Oh, no.
And I don't really care if you're really back there talking, but if you're FaceTiming people at a bar that's trying to do comedy, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I just finally, it was just line in the sand time, so I was just like, hey. And I finally get their attention, and I'm like, fuck all of you. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah?
And so this lady's like, shut up. You can suck my dick. And I was like, why don't you whip that fucking floppy ass, flaccid ass shit out, and I'll come over there and suck it. And so at that point in time, Like I should have stopped.
Yeah.
I ran over them with like a semi truck, and then I put it in fucking reverse. Because then I was like, "Can't y'all find a garage that you could drive your car into and shut the garage door and just fucking leave the car running and kill yourselves?" And
Oh my God, that is
bartender-
crazy.
yeah,
All right,
bartender
now
had bad-
that is the perfect note to wrap this show up and tell everybody where they can get this kind of treatment.
Yeah.
All right, Kayla, where can we generally find Laughs Hub City folks?
We've got Tuesday Recovery Room, Wednesday at Lantern Tavern. Thursday we've got a few shows coming up. We're going to be starting over at Nick's.
Yeah.
In the Overton.
Yeah, that's very awesome of them to do that. Yeah.
And then obviously our Friday laugh off.
Which, Jenna, it
about once a
fluctuates a little bit on the second to last or third Thursday, right?
Friday.
Friday.
Right.
God, I'm there every one, and I can't even
You're the one
remember.
who invented the show.
I have no idea. I just show up. Yeah.
That's why you have a wife.
Well, I appreciate you guys very much. Special guest this week, Aaron Durbin. Aaron, thank you
Aaron,
so much
thank
for
you.
dropping by.
Thanks for inviting me.
Appreciate you. Caleb, Dirty Possum. My name's Wes. We'll be back. Our next episode features the last laugh-off winner. No, 2 laugh-offs ago. Austin Metter.